In 2025, something is about to happen, and you can't afford to ignore it. Japan's best prophetic book makes a powerful statement: the next 10 years will be critical. Imagine a world where the forces of nature and humanity intertwine in ways we never thought possible. What is really behind the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy? Have you ever stopped to think about the implications of this? As the shadows of the future loom, the truth is that prophecies are not just predictions. They are warnings, invitations to reflect on our choices. And with each day that passes, time runs out. What will you do with this information? Will you ignore it like many do, or will you make the decision to prepare for what is to come? The signs are everywhere, and if you look closely, you'll realize the answers are unfolding right before your eyes. Tension rises, and the question that remains is, are we ready to face what fate has in store for us? Don't look away. Let's together unravel this profound mystery that could change everything. As I began to delve deeper into the origins of the prophetic book that explores the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy, I realized that the story behind it is as fascinating as the events it predicts themselves. Japan, with its rich cultural and historical tapestry, serves as a prime backdrop for the elaboration of these prophecies. The author, whose identity is often discussed, is influenced by a combination of spiritual and philosophical traditions that permeate Japanese society. This includes Shintoism, Buddhism, and even elements of Confucianism, all intertwining in a context that seeks to understand the future from a perspective that values harmony between humans and nature. Attention. Something big is about to happen in 2025, and you can't afford to miss out. What the next prophecies reveal could change everything around us. If you, like me, are someone who seeks to understand what the future holds and wants to be prepared, then it is essential that you subscribe to the channel right now and leave a like. What's really behind Japan's mysterious Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy? Why do so many believe the next 10 years will be critical? It's not just about predictions, it's about understanding the signs and preparing for what's coming. Don't leave until tomorrow what can change your life today. Each video brings new reflections, powerful insights, and information you need to know. Don't miss any details and join us on this journey. Click subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any updates. And if you found this content valuable, leave a like. Let's together unravel the mysteries that can shape our future. Sign up now and secure your place among those who know and are prepared. The work did not emerge in a vacuum. It reflects the anxieties and hopes of Japanese society in a period of rapid change. Japan has undergone significant transformations, from the Meiji era to the modernizations of the 21st century. These social and technological changes created a fertile environment for prophetic speculation. The search for meaning in times of uncertainty is a recurring theme in Japanese literature, and this book is no exception. It becomes a mirror of the concerns of the time, offering not only predictions, but also an invitation to reflect on Japan's role on the global stage. One aspect that intrigued me is how the author uses symbols such as the sun and the moon, which are not only cosmic elements, but also representations of human dualities: light and dark, masculine and feminine, rationality and intuition. This symbolic choice is a powerful strategy that resonates deeply with Japanese culture, where harmony and balance are highly valued. The author seems to suggest that, to navigate the challenges of the future, society needs to recognize and integrate these dualities. The geopolitical context of the time also influenced the writing of the book. Japan was rebuilding itself after natural disasters and economic crises, and the need for a spiritual and moral guide became evident. The work emerges as a response to this collective search for hope and direction, offering a narrative that can be both a warning and a call to action. The way in which the history of Japan and its experiences are intertwined with prophecy results in a work that is, at the same time, local and universal. As soon as I delved into the interpretation of the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy, I realized that its complexity goes far beyond a simple prediction of future events. The elements of the sun and moon are full of symbolism that, when explored, reveals a deep interconnection between natural cycles and human experiences. The sun, often associated with light, strength and life, contrasts with the moon, which represents intuition, the night and cycles of transformation. This duality is a key to understanding what the author intends to convey about the nature of future events. One point that caught my attention is how the prophecy suggests that humanity must be attentive to the changes and cycles that unfold around us. The sun can be seen as a symbol of clarity and truth, while the moon reminds us of the importance of introspection and self-knowledge. Together, they form a narrative that invites us to seek balance in our lives. This idea that the future is shaped by both external and internal forces is a reflection of the spiritual beliefs that permeate Japanese culture. The interpretation of prophecy also extends to historical events and their repercussions. We can observe how moments of great turbulence in the history of Japan have been signaled by eclipses or natural phenomena associated with the sun and the moon. The work seems to suggest that these events are not mere accidents, but rather part of a larger pattern that repeats itself throughout of time. This connection between past and future can be seen as an invitation for society to learn from its experiences and prepare for what is to come. The prophecy does not simply describe what will happen, but also presents a warning about the consequences of inaction. The author encourages us to reflect on how each of us, as individuals and as a society, can influence the future. The relationship between the sun and the moon thus becomes a symbol of the collective responsibility we carry. This message is especially pertinent in times of crisis, when the need for unity and joint action becomes more evident. The interpretation of the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy also leads us to consider spirituality and science in an ongoing dialogue. The author seems to argue that although science can explain many phenomena, there is a spiritual dimension that should not be ignored. This holistic view is something deeply rooted in Japanese culture, where nature and spirit are intrinsically linked. This interrelationship suggests that, to meet the challenges of the future, we need an approach that unifies both scientific knowledge and spiritual wisdom. When I started to analyze the predictions contained in the work, I realized that the author does not limit himself to predicting natural disasters or economic crises. It also addresses social and cultural transformations that could shape Japan and the world over the next 10 years. One of the most intriguing aspects is how these predictions connect with global trends we are already observing, such as increasing digitalization, climate change, and political tensions. One of the most impactful predictions that caught my attention is the possibility of more frequent and intense natural disasters. The author suggests that due to climate change, Japan may face a series of devastating earthquakes and tsunamis. This vision is not only alarming, but also serves as a call to action for society to prepare adequately. Resilience is a central theme, and the work emphasizes the importance of building safer infrastructure and investing in education so that communities are ready to face these adversities. The work also mentions the growing political and social instability, not only in Japan, but in various parts of the world. The author suggests that political polarization may intensify, leading to conflicts and divisions within society. This made me reflect on how communication and empathy are fundamental at this critical moment. The prophecy urges us to seek mutual understanding and cooperation, even when tensions seem insurmountable. Another interesting point is the prediction of an increase in the search for spirituality and self-knowledge. As people face uncertainty and challenges, the author suggests that many will return to spiritual and philosophical practices for comfort and direction. This made me think about how Japanese culture, with its rich spiritual heritage, can offer valuable resources for dealing with contemporary issues. The work invites readers to reflect on their own spirituality and how it can help face an uncertain future. The discussion about natural events and catastrophes in the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy is, without a doubt, one of the most impactful parts of the work. As I read, I was confronted with predictions of natural disasters, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, and climate change, which could affect not only Japan, but the world as a whole. The author seems to have a clear view that we are living in a time of increasing vulnerability to the forces of nature, an idea that resonates with current concerns about climate change. One prediction that caught my attention was the possibility of a series of devastating earthquakes. The author mentions that these events can be related to natural cycles, suggesting that humanity should pay attention to Earth's signs. This idea that nature is trying to communicate with us is fascinating and leads us to consider how our relationship with the environment is often overlooked. The work seems to challenge us to rethink our role as guardians of the planet, especially at a time when natural disasters are becoming more frequent. When I think about the social and cultural changes that Japan and the world may face in the coming years, I can't help but feel a mix of curiosity and apprehension. The Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy suggests that we are on the verge of significant transformations, driven primarily by technology. The advancement of artificial intelligence, for example, promises to redefine not only the job market, but also interpersonal relationships. Imagine a society where machines not only automate tasks, but also interact emotionally with humans. This can create a new dynamic in social relationships, as the line between the human and the artificial becomes increasingly blurred. Another point to consider is the political changes that may occur. Forecasts indicate an increase in political polarization, especially in societies where minority voices are beginning to gain more space. In Japan, this can manifest itself in a struggle between tradition and modernity. Japanese society, which historically values harmony and uniformity, can find itself divided between those who wish to preserve traditions and those who advocate greater openness and cultural diversity. This tension can generate conflicts, but it can also be an opportunity for cultural renewal that values plurality. Global interconnection must also impact social transformations. With increasing mobility and information exchange, different cultures are mixing in ways we've never seen before. This can bring to light new forms of artistic expression and new ways of thinking about social issues such as gender equality and human rights. Japan, with its rich cultural heritage, will be able to absorb and reinterpret influences from other parts of the world, creating a new cultural identity that respects its roots while embracing the new. The environmental and social issues we are currently facing will also shape the changes to come. Awareness about climate crises and social inequalities is growing, and this could lead to greater mobilization of the population. Youth, in particular, are more engaged, and their voices are calling for change. Social networks have played a crucial role in this process, allowing people to organize themselves and share their experiences more effectively. The result of this can be a profound transformation in social structures, where collective responsibility becomes a priority. We cannot forget that social and cultural changes do not occur linearly. They are often driven by crises, and the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy speaks of future challenges that can serve as catalysts for these transformations. Japan, in its history, has gone through several crises that resulted in significant changes. What we can hope now is that, even when faced with challenges, society finds creative ways to adapt and evolve, shaping a future that, although uncertain, can be full of new possibilities. When I look at the spiritual and philosophical implications of the prophecies contained in the book, I can't help but reflect on how these predictions can profoundly touch people's lives. Japan, with its rich tapestry of spiritual beliefs and traditions, has a complex relationship with the idea of future and destiny. The Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy, by suggesting changes and challenges, can make many question their own beliefs and the reason for their existence. This can result in a search for deeper answers, leading to a re-evaluation of personal values and priorities. How people interpret these prophecies can vary enormously. For some, they can be seen as a call to action, an opportunity to reconnect with spirituality and seek a greater purpose. For others, there may be a feeling of fatalism, where the idea that future events are predestined can generate anxiety and despair. This duality of perceptions is an intrinsic part of the human condition and reflects the constant struggle between hope and fear. Another interesting aspect is how these predictions can impact existing spiritual and religious traditions. Japan is home to a diversity of spiritual practices, from Shintoism to Buddhism, and the arrival of new ideas can lead to religious syncretism. People can find ways to integrate the messages of prophecy into their spiritual practices, creating new traditions that reflect contemporary realities. This adaptation process can strengthen the spirituality of many, but it can also generate resistance from purists who wish to preserve traditional practices. Philosophy also plays a crucial role in this discussion. The ideas that emerge from prophecies can lead to deep reflection on existential questions, such as the nature of good and evil, the purpose of life, and the interconnectedness of all beings. People may wonder how their individual actions contribute to the whole, and how they can live more ethically and meaningfully. This can result in a movement towards a more conscious and integrated spirituality, where ethics and social action become fundamental parts of spiritual practice. The reception of the predictions contained in the Sun-Moon Shinchi prophecy has been a hot topic of discussion, especially in a world where information is disseminated quickly. Since the first predictions were released, reactions have ranged from enthusiasm to skepticism. Japanese society, known for its rational and pragmatic approach, has shown a certain degree of hesitation in accepting prophecies like these. Academic criticism is an important part of this dialogue, with many experts questioning the validity and usefulness of predictions. Some critics argue that prophecies can fuel fear and anxiety, leading to reactive societal behavior. In a world already filled with uncertainty, the idea that catastrophic events are lurking can provoke unnecessary panic. This perspective is especially relevant in a Japan that has already faced devastating natural disasters. Instead of preparing the population, prophecies can actually generate emotional paralysis, where people feel powerless in the face of a future that seems bleak. Reactions are also influenced by cultural factors.